talking about making her want to, and you're absolutely right. Who would want to submit to that? Nobody. Because it makes her feel like, she's not safe. So I wanna, fellas, you may wanna write this down. I'm speaking as a woman now about how you make a woman want to submit. Okay, what are the keys? How can you get the warfare out of the house? Charles called in earlier, and he talked about that being one of the biggest issues in his marriage for the last 23 years. What does it actually mean to submit? So we've given the definition now. Okay, this is what the Bible means when it says submit to your husband, and I love your definition of it, Donald. It's the best definition that I've ever heard. Getting under the mission is just so awesome. I think it's a really good way to remember that, because that was exactly the way that it came to my spirit, that submission is not blind, mindless obedience. Is understanding the vision of your husband and getting in alignment with the vision that he has for the family. So now that we understand what submission is, how do you make her want to? How do you take the warfare out of it? How do you take the struggle out of getting her to submit, making her, because remember, it's something that she has to do by choice. So now we understand this. You can't get her to do it. You can't make her. She's got to want to. She has to willingly surrender. Like Christ said, I willingly give up my life. No man takes my life from me. I willingly give it up. And so I think the most important thing, and Jackie touched on it when she was, I'm trying to grab my notes here. Jackie touched on it when she began to talk, and this is before we run out of time. I really want to dig into this. The main thing that you have to do to make your make your wife want to submit, to influence her desire to want to submit to you, is to understand in your office of the husband that you need to reflect Christ in her life. You need to reflect the Messiah. And that goes back to Ephesians. I'm going to read this, Ephesians 5. And we all know this, but I really want to talk about this because it is the most important key. Okay? Ephesians 5:26 says this. No, I'm going back to 25. Okay? So let me go back to 22 so we can get the full vision of it. For wives, this means submit to your husbands. I'm sorry, I'm not in the version I want to be in. I want the King James. Sorry, here we go. Okay, 5:22. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as also Christ is head of the church. Now, for guys, they're beating their chest like, ooh, ooh, yeah, I'm the head. But this is a serious mandate that's been put on you. You're not just the head. You're the head the same way Christ is the head of the church. That's a huge responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. Also, as Christ is the head of the church and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be subject to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. Okay, so I want to dissect